How you feel about the situation that's going on right now in Colorado with Deion Sanders?
Well, Deion Sanders, to begin with, is one of my favorite uh, NFL players of all time. Randall Cunningham, former quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, he would be number one all time, and Deion might be right behind him or not too far after that. Um, I took issue with him leaving Jackson State because I saw the bigger picture. I saw how a man of his caliber, with his cachet, with his history, his notoriety, I really believe Deion Sanders could have led a major financial revolution for HBCUs by way of the athletic programs that could have given Black America the opportunity to win our athletes back to our Black colleges so they could build revenue for us as opposed to building revenue for all of these predominantly white universities who have a very small percentage of Black students on campus, most of whom are athletes, and who graduate an extremely small percentage of the Black athletes that they do manage to bring to these white college campuses. So I was very disappointed that Deion gave that up. And I also believe that there might have been some systemic influence upon the offer he got from Colorado, because I really do think that the white power structure stood back and they looked at the threat Deion posed to the success and the financial wherewithal of the PWI had he been able to continue to take top athletes from D1 and bring them on over to the HBCUs, many of which are D1 as well. But I think they were very afraid that Deion could have begun to undermine the multi-billion-dollar PWI Black high school student to white college pipeline. And I think that a decision was made that we need to offer Deion Sanders the opportunity to coach at a white school. Because if you look at it, they gave him one of the worst white schools in terms of their record. They had only won one game the previous year, and they sent him to a white college that has only 2% Black students and in a town that only has 1% Black people. So they literally sent him from a predominantly Black city, Jackson, Mississippi, predominantly Black HBCU, and sent him to the total opposite side of the spectrum. All white college in an all white town, Boulder, Colorado. I believe they were making a statement by doing that. And I believe that his decision to leave Jackson State undermined the rumor that white people often have about Blacks, and that is we all have a price. No matter how much they claim they are committed to the best interests of their own community, if you come up with the right price, I don't care who it is, you can pay them to work against the best interests of their community. So I was very crushed by that. Now, putting that on the back burner, I have to say this. He's still a Black man. And although I didn't agree with his decision, I'm still going to support him where he is. And I believe that Deion Sanders is being targeted. I believe his son is being targeted. And I was a little disappointed in the statement he made post-game after this most recent loss, when they asked him about the offensive line. And he said, we got to get a new line or something to that effect. He basically said, we're getting rid of the guys we have, and we're going to get some new folks. You can't say that when you got 4 games left on the season. Because if you're telling these guys who already are not playing well that you will not be here next year, what motivation do they have to protect your son? So I understand as a father, I have 2 daughters, I don't have sons, but I understand as a father how he could feel if his son is getting beat up on, because that young man, Shedeur Sanders, he's special. He's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, if not better. He is going to make history in the NFL. So obviously there's a concern about his health and his longevity because he's not the bulkiest of quarterbacks. So I can understand as a father, he's hurting and he's concerned about his son because the blocking in that last game, it was horrific, brother. You saw it. He could only hold the ball for 2 seconds. I was literally counting 2 seconds, and he had to get rid of the ball. There were plays where I saw defenders shoot straight through the line and nobody even touched them. Now, if you remember when they lost the previous game, I made a comment. I said, Deion and Shador, because I want them to be successful. I didn't agree with the move, but now you're there. I want you to win. They have to be careful not to be so focused on their celebrity that they're losing the rest of the team. Someone said, and I don't know if this is true, allegedly at halftime of the second to last game they played, someone tweeted out, posted something from Shador involving his watch or his endorsements, something non-football related was posted on one of Shador's pages halftime of the game. Now you're up 29-0. 29-0. You have somebody post whatever they posted about something that had nothing to do with football when you should have been focused on the game. Am I to believe that there's no chance at all that the reason they lost that game is because some people stopped playing? Because they felt disrespected and insulted, that here we are as a team, you are our quarterback and our leader, and you have the audacity to check out of the game at halftime and worry about posting something on your social media. Did that have anything to do with them losing that game? We will never know. I believe it did. I believe it did. And I believe the play of the offensive line of this last game clearly shows that some of those young men on that team, because after all, these are children. Yes, they're big and masculine, but they're children. They're not fully developed into the minds of men yet. They're babies. So something is telling me that there is some psychological fatigue. There is some emotional fatigue. And let's be honest now, you're playing for Deion Sanders. You have more pressure on you than any other team in the NCAA. It doesn't matter y'all only won one game last year. That's Deion Sanders. So every time they take the field, they have to deal with the pressure of playing for Coach Prime. Nobody is going to tell me, being someone who studied the mind of children and adults my whole life, my doctorate is in clinical psychology. Nobody's going to tell me that that isn't beginning to wear at the morale of the team. I think Shador and Deion need to dial out of all of the endorsements and all of the hype in the hoopla, dial back into this team. I think they need to have a sit down. Listen, fellas, we apologize if y'all feel we was spending too much time on our own careers, our own endorsements, the expansion of our own brand. We are a team. We win and we lose together. Let's go hang out together. Let's go, have a meal together. Start doing some team building activities. Group psychology is a real thing. And one of the fundamentals of group psychology, once you lose one teammate, that sour energy, it is infectious. And so now other teammates are beginning to check out. And before you know it, you've lost the entire team. So I need Shador and Deion to tap back into a group psychology perspective and rally these boys around this team, get their emotional and psychological buy-in and finish the season in a strong way. If they do that, they will be fine. Okay? If they end the season 4-8, that's not going to look good at all. He's still going to rebound next year because he's Deion Sanders. But none of us know how long we're here. None of us know how long you're going to have your son. Nobody knows how long you're going to be in the college ranks. He might take an NFL job. I do see that in Deion's future at some point. You really have to savor the moment. Savor the moment. Get those boys tied back in. Tell Shador to calm it down. Let's focus on the team. We only got 4 weeks to go. Endorsements, commercials, hype and hoopla, self-promotion, that can wait for 4 weeks. Let's win these last 4 games and end the season.
How you feel about what happened when they was playing UCLA? Like while they was playing the game, somebody was in their locker room stealing.
At first, I thought that could have been some sort of an intentional malice against the team, but I'm starting to kind of feel like It could have just been a random occurrence because I'm hearing that that's something that happens a lot at the locker rooms in UCLA, but yet and still, somebody saw them go in there and steal. You're not going to tell me that they just walked in there and stole and nobody saw anything. I believe whoever was responsible for stealing, they were allowed to steal. Somebody saw it and looked the other way because it was Deion Sanders' team. And the other thing I want to say, his other son on the defensive side, Shiloh, that he should have never been ejected for that hit. He should have never been ejected for that hit. That was personal, and that was a hit on his father because they knew that without Shiloh, who's the quarterback of the defense, without him in that game, it's going to be tough to win it. And I find it interesting that y'all will eject Shiloh on that hit, but that white student who hit Travis out of bounds a couple games ago that led to him missing a few games, he wasn't ejected. It's an automatic ejection when you hit a player after the whistle outside of bounds. He doesn't get ejected. They don't even talk about it, but yet Shiloh gets ejected for that hit. Clearly a double standard. But again, when you live that type of life, you have to take the good with the bad. And the one thing I do love about Deion and Shedeur, they cool under pressure. I'm going to give them that. Both of them are cool under pressure. They don't crack. They don't sweat. They don't break. Shedeur is a master of the media. He's a master. At his young age, they can't rattle him. And Deion is pretty good as well. So I do love the way that they can actually walk it the way they talk it. And I appreciate that. And the father-son relationships that's being shown around the world, Deion with his 3 sons and his daughter, I love it. The black father image, just like with LeBron James. I'm not a big fan of his politically either because I think Deion and LeBron, most of our athletes could be doing way more than what they do for the community. But LeBron James as a father, second to none. Deion Sanders as a father, second to none.
Yeah, that's real talk, man. And I know you made a comment before saying that, you feel like all the college coaches, they plotting against Deion.
Well, from what I've seen, they've already petitioned for some rule changes as it relates to recruitment. And I understand that there's been some modifications to the recruiting process because the Division I NCAA coaches are afraid that Deion is going to get all the top talent from around the league because he's so popular. He got so much swag. He's so cool. Who don't want to play for Deion? Think about it. His team, whether they win 1 game or no games, they're going to be on TV. There's no football team in NCAA that's going to get more attention than the Colorado Buffaloes. So if I'm in high school, even if I don't like Deion, even if my parents don't like Deion, I'm going to the Colorado Buffaloes. You know why? Everybody's watching me week in and week out. I'm more likely to get picked higher in the NFL draft by being on the Colorado Buffaloes with a losing record. Hypothetically, we don't want that. But even if they have a losing record, I'm going to get more views on a losing Colorado Buffalo team that I might get on the number 1 team in the league. It's going to be hard to beat him at recruiting season.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the reason why they trying to take him down. I agree. Great point, man. Great point.
And we got to be honest. What we're watching is the same old thing we've seen a million times over. The racial overtones are obvious. You have a black man entering a profession, the coaching ranks, that has been historically dominated by middle-class white males. He's coming in with the swag, the self-confidence. They win 3 games off the rip. Everybody's paranoid that Deion is about to take over the coaching ranks of the NCAA. And as you know, because you've seen it with tennis, you've seen it with golf, you've seen it with boxing, you've seen it with baseball, you've seen it with basketball. Once we are given a fair chance, we excel. Next year, everybody who's laughing at Deion now, next year, all of them are going to have to swallow those smiles and swallow those giggles because next year, I cannot see this man not having a top 5 team. I can't see it. And most people are probably anticipating he's going to be top 2 or 3 with the talent that he's going to get. Now, with that being said, I still have to say the Pan-Africanist in me, the revolutionary in me, I am still disappointed that we have a black man bringing all this attention and all this money to a predominantly white university that has almost no black students on the campus. After the first home game, I believe they said $50 million was made in Boulder, Colorado after the first game. That's what that game meant. The first 50. Could you imagine what Jackson State could have done with 50 million? South Carolina State could have done with 50 million. Morgan State, Bowie, Coppin, Hampton, Tuskegee. That's what bothers me. Because guess what? No matter how great of a job Deion does, I hope he wins the next 10 championships. But when he leaves the University of Colorado, the amount of money that they would have made off of Deion, the amount of cachet and status that the University of Colorado will have post Deion will far outweigh anything he's gotten while he was at Colorado. His endorsements won't equal that. His championships won't equal that. His salary won't equal that. And I want people to really see how no matter what Deion gets, no matter what Shador and Shiloh gets out of this Colorado experiment, the University of Colorado will be laughing all the way to the bank for the next 25 years because of Deion Sanders. And when we look at the condition of the historically black college, there's no way you can love black people and love black institutions and be okay with the fact that one of our greatest athletes is making billions of dollars for a white college that black colleges so desperately need right now.